Good evening. My name is Anjali Sachandi and welcome to NIBS TV. Our SMS number is 22456 and you can find us on all social media platforms at NIBS TV Kenya. Today we're going to be talking about youth mentorship and I'm not alone in studio. In my far right I have my co-host.
Thank you very much. I go by the name Murumbugwa.
And our guest in studio today is Mr. Joseph Marwa, who's a lecturer and also a youth mentor. Welcome.
Thank you.
We're going to discuss a bit about your personal life before you go into your career life. And can you tell us something about your level of education?
Okay, thank you so much. I first of all mention my name. My name is Joseph Marwa. I'm an ICT lecturer here at NIBS Technical College. I have a bachelor's degree in ICT and also a diploma in ICT. Yes.
So why are you passionate about the youth?
I believe I was once a youth. And being a youth, then you also have a passion in leading others, because I also was held my hand, I was led, I was given a chance, and that way I also became passionate about leading and mentoring some other people. So because I have different people in my capacities and different people below me, then I want to look at them and see how best can I bring them up and be a leader or a role model to them.
Apart from being a lecturer, do you have anything else that you do for a living?
I'm a father, and I wouldn't say I have a business as per se, apart from being in career-wise in the ICT, and also being able to take care of my family. I think that those are the main thing that I normally do. Other than that, I also have other roles and maybe other capacities I'm doing in different perspectives. Like when I go to my church, I'm a youth patron, and this is also passionate about it, and that is also why it's bringing up the issues of being able to lead the youth. So I work as a youth patron in my church, and I'm also a deacon.
Okay,
in that capacity.
Let's dwell a bit about your career. Why a lecturer? Why not a doctor, an engineer? Why a lecturer in ICT in particular?
Well, ICT, you realize, is a technical course, and that means when we are more technical, we are able to build ourselves. So it's a profession like all other professions, and I believe that I chose this because I have a passion in technology and I have a passion in technical things. So ICT became one of the main thing, and that has also been my greatest desire, to see how best can I be able to work well in ICT. I'm not saying fully I'm only on ICT training, but I'm also on technical. That means technical, that means experience, and I've also an experience now in the training part of it. Yes.
Okay, if I may ask, what have you done so far in the society to impact the youth?
Basically, what I have done is to hold mentorship programs and mentorship trainings, motivational talks, and youth programs. Being a youth patron, I've had a chance to deal with the youth in their forums, the junior levels, and then even the senior levels. And I'm passionate about seeing how best can they become better models and better people in the society, bearing in mind that in our society that we live in, the youth becomes the greatest percentage. Much as we look at, we take an example of our country, the biggest percentage that we have, it's on our youth. And this becomes the biggest part that we want to deal with. So if we are able to model the youth and we are able to bring them up in the right way and mentor them into different programs and different activities, then it becomes a better society for us to live in.
Okay, and do you have any mentor in your life or anything related to that?
Yes, I do. Basically, if each one of us has a mentor and you have a role model, perhaps there's someone that you look up to. I have different perspectives. Maybe I would give an example. Like if I look at my social life, I have a mentor who is my dad. So I would want to grow and become like my dad. Much as I grow and see whatever he's doing, then I also admire and I would want to become like him. So if I look at the spiritual life or the spiritual perspective, I have a role model who is my pastor. So I would want to see how best can I become like him when I'm growing up, even in my spiritual walk. So if I look at the career-wise, I always say that I have a mentor who is the current CS for the ICT, Honorable Joe Mushero. That becomes my role model because he's a person who has to see that I become like him one of these fine days.
Okay, and due to audiences' request or what they are asking, they would like to know if you have any kids, their age. Yeah.
Yes, as I said in my introductory remarks, I said I'm a father and I take care of my family. I have a wife and I have 2 kids, 2 young, beautiful girls, aged 6 years and 3 years. Yes.
Wow, and that's great. And what drives you to, what drives you mostly when you are saying that you are an author? Or okay, can you explain more?
What's your motivation in life?
My
What
motivation
keeps you
in
going?
life. Wow, that's good. My motivation is to see the best in life and to become the best. I always admire, I still say, where I am today is not still where I want to be. Life is a journey, and I'm in this journey and growing and keep moving up and up and up. So I still have that drive of becoming the best in the society. And as I look at in the society, I'm also trying to look at what then better things can I be able to do. And that's why I said I have a mentorship for youth. I admire to see young people, and I admire to see the young people becoming the best in their society and even in their fields, whatever field they are in. So I always take a moment when I have a session with the youth to try and bring them up, or just to motivate them and maybe bring them up to the knowledge of why are they in their fields or their relevant fields. So that alone gives me a drive and to see how best can we become the best in our fields. Yes.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Do you have any projects that you are currently working on or planning to work on?
Well, I wouldn't call it a project, but I have a book I'm writing, and this book will be majorly on issues about mental health, because you realize in our society today, I think partly life has become difficult and life has become a bit stressful, and I looked at it and thought it's good to write about a book about mental health. So basically, in the course of the year, or maybe probably the beginning of the next year, 2023, I shall have been done with the book, and then it shall be out, and we'll see what content it has.
Do you have like any authors that you look up to in life?
I do, and I have one person who writes books and is also a youth mentor, and not even just a youth mentor alone, but is a person who really likes to talk about motivation. And this person is called John C. Maxwell. He's an author of many books, and he's written so many books. So I'm a person who follows his books and a person who follows his talks and follows his motivations. And partly I developed an interest on that because I also have an art of public speaking, which I'm working on. That means one of maybe the days I will be looking at holding motivational talks, maybe career talks, or any other inspirational talks that we have within our societies.
Do you feel like the government has done enough in terms of the youth to make sure that they have proper support?
Yes, I believe the government is trying to do the best it can, because you realize, like I said about technical courses and technical fields that we have, you realize that the government is really trying to insist and emphasize on ICT, on engineering, and any other technical field, basically to try and ensure that we are not relying on too much, or we are over dependent too much on the white collar jobs, but we are also bringing up our young people, and we're also bringing up the youth in this sense that they will be able to become job creators as opposed to job lookers.
If you were to correct or implement something in the current government right now, what should you do different that the government has not done for the youth?
Basically, I would look at trying to insist on creating jobs. In our country, and this becomes even in the campaign era that we are in, currently, that you realize that when we are talking about the youth, we are saying we are going to create jobs for our youth. But if you sit down and look at it critically, you would ask yourself, what has the government done? What are these jobs that we are creating? So that we don't look for a job that we created for today and then tomorrow that job is not there. But we would want to look at, even if we mention about job creation, but we're also looking at sustainability of it, so that in years to come, then we still have these jobs and we still have these young people and they are able to hold their lives on their own.
You've spoken about mental health, and your first book is going to be about mental health. Yes. Do you feel like mental health is more rampant with the youth than with the other age groups, and why?
I believe years ago it was, but currently it is cutting across. Why I say it's cutting across is, like recently, what has inspired me to maybe think of writing a book on mental health and mental issues is that recently I lost a friend, and this friend was a mother of 2 boys and a wife to a husband. But she took her life, and she took her life because of issues of depression, stress, and maybe other mental issues within life. So partly my book will be measuring on such. Why are people maybe gearing towards maybe taking their lives? Why are they committing suicide? So all those are the issues that we'll look at. And we said this, that mental health is not about being mad. It's not about being mad. It's just a mental state, a state of mental health, whereby it's a reversible issue. But if we join hands as a community and work together, then we realize that we will be able to restore the dignity of any person who is going through a mental issue. And that is my major concern, and that's why I want to write a book on that.
Are you going to partner with somebody when writing the book, or it will just be your own work?
Well, not yet at the moment, but I believe with time I may think of such, but I will also be needing some information. You realize that when you're talking about a mental health issue, especially in our society, you will not talk about it from the blue, but you will need some information, you'll need some data, you'll do some data analysis, you'll need to go back to records, and that means I will venture into other issues that have been done by other people. So partly I may include them or mention them somewhere, but I will be needing some more information from other people.
Okay, is the book going to have a special dedication maybe to your wife, to your kids, to the general youth?
Perhaps it will. Not yet thought about that, but perhaps it will. Of course, definitely it must have a dedication to someone. I will still think about who do I dedicate to.
Because there are millions of youth looking up to you right now, being a tech genius and also being a youth leader.
Yes.
What would you like to tell them in simple 3 sentences?
I would say one is opportunities are many, and opportunities are out there. If we lack those opportunities, we can create those opportunities. And that's why I majorly look at the technical fields and advocate for technical fields, because you will not sit down and wait for something to be done for you, but you can sit down and do it yourself. That means you create it. And we will become employers in maybe years to come, as opposed to always be looking for jobs. So why we want to look at it that way is, why are these technical courses and technical fields so rampant out there? So can we be able to do something that we will be able to ensure that our young people, much as they are graduating, because we have a lot of graduates out here, but what are they doing?
Do you think the problem is with the upbringing or the level of education that they're getting?
It could be both, the upbringing. I remember, like, when we are growing up, we are always told by our fathers that in their times, things were better. Maybe, but because if I could give an example of my father, he got employed when he was still in school, and that is the government. Because that time, maybe the labor market was less. But today, the labor market is too much, and it's too saturated. So you may not sit down and say, we are waiting to be employed very soon. So, but we must look at then, how do we become job creators, so that we don't rely too much on being employed, but we can employ our own selves. Those technical skills that the government is insisting on or emphasizing on, they are very important in our society today.
Okay, to our final question, in the next 5-10 years to come,
Yes.
as an individual, where do you see yourself, and also as a professional, and also as an author, because you're saying you're writing a book?
Yes, I would look at, especially on where I'll have been able to either produce 2 or 3 books or author 2 or 3 books. In my field, I'm looking at being a technical engineer. So I want to grow in that technical field. Much as I'm doing training today, I'm still also adding up skills, and I'm adding up knowledge, adding up courses, so that with time, I'll become a technical engineer in my field of ICT.
In the next books that you're going to write, are you going to partner with people, some of the writers that you look up to, or you'll still just do the book by yourself?
This first one being the original one, you may not look into issues about partnership, but in the next or the consequent books that will come, then I must look for other partnerships so that you can author the books together. Okay. Yes, so I will be looking for it.
Okay, we wish you all the best in your current and future endeavors. Thank you for coming.
You are welcome. Thank you so very much. I also appreciate it.
Okay, my name is Anjali Satandi, and I was with.
I am Marumbo.
Thank you for watching. See you next time.
Thank you.